You join us today on this wonderful sunny day, a great place to come and visit just on the Norfolk coast, just off of the Wash. Today on Much Ado About Mooring, we are at Kings Lynn. Now, Kings Lynn dates back some hundreds of years and has notables such as Vancouver, Captain Cook, and not least Admiral Lord Nelson to add to its name. Wonderful place to stop. Let's have a little look at what the mooring here on the public pontoon has to offer for anyone stopping and visiting the Kings Lynn and the Kings Lynn port. So as you can see, you can moor either side of the pontoon. There is mooring cleats on both sides, very easy to access, and they're very firmly tied onto the pontoon, so there's no trouble or worries about that. Make sure you put your spring lines on, and as I keep saying, make sure you've got one of these on while you're down here. The public pontoon is accessed by the gantry-way, so once you pull up alongside, it's very easy to let yourself out of the locked and secure gate at the top into the town. There's many facilities there, and we'll have a look at that a little later. But down here, as you can see, we're at low tide at the moment. We've pulled up here fairly late on in the tidal range today. But just to show you some of the facilities that it has, we have electric and we have a water point. So it's certainly easy to keep the boat water tanks full. And if you need to plug in and you have shore power available, that's a great thing and a great facility to have. The electricity is fed by a card, and that can be got whilst you visit the tourist information board or even the Marriott pub, which is at the top of the gantryway. Because we are on low tide, the gantry is pretty steep, and I don't think the camera itself does that any justice. But I'll walk to the top and I'll show you exactly what we can see from the top of the gantry. As you can see there in the distance, that's the end of the estuary and effectively the gateway out to the Wash and eventually the North Sea. If you want to get round to Wells, that's obviously the way that you would depart from the port of Kings Lynn. However, if you're coming in from the sea, that's what you would be looking at. You would come in to the mooring, and this is the public mooring here. When we came down earlier today, we came on the outgoing tide, moored up just on the main pontoon. There's a couple of our boats you can see in the shot there. But the tide has now gone out. There's no boat traffic moving, and that won't start to happen again until a little bit later. And the fishing boats will come off of the mud banks and they will go out and do their job. So as you can see, the mooring itself is secured by a gate. It's got a lock code on it. That code and access to this and booking for the pontoon is available through either the Port Authority or the local tourist office. Now, I've just been to make sure that we're booked in at the tourist office. Fairly straightforward, and it's just over the way next door to the church and in the same entrance as the museum for Kings Lynn. One of the things that I would advise when you're here, it's a fairly fast tidal flow. Crew saver or life jacket is probably a good idea when you're moving out on the pontoon, just in case you fall in. At least you can float to survive until someone can come and pick you up. The main quayside just here along the mooring is absolutely lovely. That's the Marriott warehouse. Lovely restaurant, lovely pub. We've stopped there many times. Food is great, service is marvellous. As I pan up along the main quayside, you can see just in the distance there, beyond those fishing trawlers, that's where the Admiralty House would be. There's a memorial to some of the seafarers that came from Kings Lynn.
Fading pictures on the wall, shadows dancing in the hall, empty echoes from
custom house behind me was built in 1683. The top copula, I think it's called, was actually blown down in a storm and rebuilt in 1741. A little less modest than the original one, but I think it still stands up and looks pretty good today.
Memories are all we keep in the silence when we sleep. Every night hollow cold, holding on to watch it fall. Hopes that flicker in the night, faded slowly out of sight. Desperate whisper speaking of holding on to broken dreams. Does this heartache seal the deal? In the ashes rise above, holding on to broken love. On to broken love. On to broken love.
One of the things I like particularly about the public pontoon is it's very stable, so until a boat comes rocketing past, which is very rare, it doesn't move a great deal, which makes it quite safe. Like I say, crew saver, probably a good idea just in case you fall in. But other than that, it's a really enjoyable place to stop. You can watch the world go by, you can go and have a nice meal, you can even go and have a drink in one of the many pubs that are around the area, and there's a bit of history to see too. What a great place to come and spend a few hours or even a few days. So that's Kings Lynn. I'm sure you will agree, a wonderful place to stop and spend some time, whether you're here waiting for the next tide for a few hours or you come here as a destination for a few days. Great place to find some lovely eateries, some pubs and a good place to look around. Anyway, as usual, if you like what you see, please comment below. We would love to hear from you. The subscribe button is over here in the corner. And from It's a Boat Thing in the sunny Kings Lynn, we'll see you next time.